World, thank you for joining me once again here on Talkin Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. And today we're going to start off with Jared Anderson and his uphill battle to unclog the heavyweight division. I mentioned the other day I'd love to see him go toe-to-toe against Joe Joyce. And then I'd like to see him face the winner of Daniel Dubois after he beats, quite frankly, Anthony Joshua. That was my thought. Anyway, it's not going to happen for obvious reasons. Let me go through the headlines here for you. Unbeaten heavyweight Jared Real Baby Anderson, 17-0, 16 knockouts, will step up against Martin Bakole, 21-1, 15 knockouts on the stacked August 13th Crawford Madrimov event taking place in Los Angeles. As you all know, Anderson is rated by the WBA number 4, WBC number 5, IBF number 5, WBA number 13. While Bakole is rated WBA number 1, WBC number 10, WBO number 11, and IBF number 14. Yeah, interestingly, this card also features Israil Big Baby Miller going against Andy Ruiz. So we'll see both big babies in action in the ring that night. The purse bid between Alvarez and Skull has been delayed. The IBF purse bid for the World Championship fight between undisputed super middleweight champ Saul Canelo Alvarez and IBF number 1 William Skull was supposed to take place earlier today. However, the Canelo team asked for more time, and this request was granted after discussions with the Skull team, and the new date is now June 13th. So for a while, it looks as if Canelo might give up his IBF World Championship belt, with Skull able to fight for the vacant against someone else. But now there's apparently been another turnaround, so wait and see, I suppose. A fellow by the name of Israil Napoles, 4-0, fighting out of Cuba, will challenge for his first pro title this Friday, so maybe a name we should be looking out for. Napoles will take on the much more experienced Vista Garcia, fighting out of Venezuela, 23-1, by the way. It's scheduled for a 10-round bout to take place at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. With the WBA regional title at stake, Napoles is on the face track. Napoles is on the face track, but his team of Chris Lawrence, Heavyweight Factory Promotions, International Boxing Enterprise, and trainer Rubio all believe he'll be up for the task. Okay, whatever. That last sentence to me did not make sense, but hopefully it made sense to you. He's on track. A quick little knockout to report here. In a clash of seasoned junior middleweights, Vladimir Hernandez, 15-6, scored a spectacular 6-round knockout against Guido Schramm, 16-3-2, on Wednesday night at the White Sands Event Center in Plant City, Florida. A left hand apparently laid out Schramm face first to end it at 2 minutes 59 seconds. So a good one to YouTube if you're into catching the highlights there. Over in Montreal, it's looking like Patrice Volney does not like Stephen Butler. They were toe-to-toe at the weigh-in. This is for the WBC Francophone middleweight title. Also on this bill, we've got Evgeny Shvedenko versus Osles Iglesias for the IBO super middleweight title. We've got Arthur Bayar Slanov taking on Elias Haido for the NABF super lightweight title. And Shamil Katiev takes on Ramadan Hassini. And Jose de Leon Jasso will be fighting John Arubio. And finally, Luis Santana going toe-to-toe against Guillermo Grocco. This is all taking place at the Casino de Montreal in Montreal, Canada, promoted by Eye of the Tiger. Upcoming fight this weekend. Anyway, boxing is back at the Commerce Casino on July 26th, according to Tom Loeffler and his company 360 Promotions. They're going to present another Hollywood Fight Night event on Friday, July 26th, as I said, at the Commerce Casino Event Center in LA, broadcast on UFC Fight Pass. The event is co-headlined by a WBC regional title fight doubleheader featuring world rank Omar Trinidad, 15-0-1, making his first defense of his WBC Continental Americas featherweight title against Southpaw Victor Slavinsky, 15-2-1, by the way. Fighting in the welterweight division, you got hard-hitting Freddie Roach-trained Gor Yaratsian, 18-0, and he looks to stay perfect, defending his WBC Continental Americas title against fellow undefeated Aram Amir Khayyam. 15-0-1. Both bouts are scheduled for 10 rounds. We also saw recently the Fisher-Babbitt press conference. Heavyweights Johnny Fisher and Alec Babbitt, nowhere to be found in the top 10 rankings for sure. We're at a press conference at Matchroom headquarters in Brentwood, Essex, England, ahead of their July 6th clash at the Copper Box Arena in London. Alan Babbitt said, "Thank you for having me, everybody. It's beautiful to be here." Listen, Johnny Fisher, listen. Johnny Fisher, I think, is a great fighter, but I think he's a young fighter. I've had 100 amateur fights. Most of them were tougher than me and him both. I had 12 professional fights. I was tested so many times. I was tested so many times. You repeated. I went through them all, almost, all but one. Let's have a quick look, see if Inoue's can go to New York. All right, Monster Naoane Inoue, 27-0, 24 knockouts. The unified world super bantamweight champion has left for New York in order to attend the award-giving ceremony of the Boxing Writers Association of America. Naoane was named BWAA's Boxer of the Year and will receive the prestigious Sugar Ray Robinson Award on Friday. That's coming up in a few days. The Monster will be accompanied by his manager and promoter, Hideyuki Oshahi, former WBCWA World Minimum Champ. Congratulations indeed, in a way. Boots Ennis is still fighting on July 13th. Against who? We don't know, I don't think. IBF welterweight champion Jaron Boots Ennis says he's still fighting next month in his hometown of Philadelphia. Ennis' opponent and mandatory challenger, Cody Crowley, pulled out of Tuesday due to complications in his recovery from eye surgery last November. Boots took to social media to inform his fans that the fight date is still on. If it's Cody or not, I'll still be fighting a top contender on July 3rd as planned. Don't worry. All right. And did you see the Don King kerfuffle, the press conference featuring Broner and Cobbs? Let's see if this particular article has the famous quote. Let's see here. Former 4-division world champion Adrian the Problem Broner, 35-4-1, and fan favorite Blair the Flair Cobbs, 16-1-1, faced off at a final press conference for their WBC People's Championship main event on Friday night at Hard Rock Live, Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Adrian Broner, let's have a quick see here if this is the one. I want to thank everyone for showing up. I apologize for being late. I want to tell you guys what I tell everyone else. You can't fight me. You can't fight for me. You guys aren't going to lose this weight for me. And you guys sure aren't going to run your mouth for me. So I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing just to please you. You aren't going to put food on my plate or no money in my pocket. I had to handle business. I had to get my work done before I came here to talk shit. I am here to put my life on the line. On June 7th, I'm not coming just to put on a show for fans. I'm coming to die if I have to. That wasn't the one I was looking for. Somewhere along the lines, he said words to the effect, he was going to shoot Blair Cobbs in the mouth. Okay, and to which he got into a bit of trouble. For his part, Blair Cobbs responded, "Thank you, everybody, for showing up to this one. This one is going to be a very big attraction. Just in case you don't know who I am, is the most exciting man in boxing, Blair the Flair Cobbs. The limousine riding, the jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun. I'm having a hard time keeping these alligator boots down. We're going to have a great time. I just cannot wait to get my hands on Adrian Broner. Look, he had a good run, but now it's time for his demise." Okay, not really what I was looking for. It's out there somewhere. Take a look for it, probably on Twitter. Fanmio has announced the co-main event for the last man standing, Diaz versus Masvidal, as two-time former middleweight champ Daniel Miracle Man Jacobs, 37-4, returns to action to take on Shane Mosley Jr., 21-4, in a 10-round super middleweight showdown on Saturday, July 6th, in a pay-per-view event from Honda Center in Anaheim, California. The card is headlined by pro boxing battle between MMA fighters Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal. Okay, that's why I didn't recognize that name. Okay. Claressa Shields re-entering the ring on Saturday, July 27th. Undisputed female middleweight world champion Claressa Shields, 14-0 for 2 knockouts, rises 2 weight classes to vie for a world title in a 4-division against WBC female heavyweight champion Vanessa LePage Jonis, 7-1. The vacant WBO Female Light Heavyweight Championship will also be on the line on July 27th, as both main event fighters aim to unify 175-pound titles in a very special edition of Big Time Boxing USA at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. That will air live on premier global sports platform DAZN. Okay. From the Says the promoter Dmitry Salida. He says, from the beginning of her career, Claressa has been on a quest to make her story a part of history. This fight is one of Claressa's hardest challenges, moving up 2 weight divisions to challenge the current heavyweight champion. It's Claressa versus Vanessa for the unified world title in Detroit, one of boxing's historic homes. The home of the Kronk gym. There's no better venue for this epic showdown than the beautiful world-class Little Caesars Arena. Fair enough. Okay. Let's have a quick look here, see if I got anything else. Nothing on that one. Oh, gosh. More on Jared Anderson here. He's taking a big step up in class against Martin Bakole on August 3rd, it says, not August 13th, on the Turki Al-Sheikh card at BMO Stadium in L.A. The card's headlined by Terence Crawford versus Israil Madrimov. Bakole, he's 20-0, 50 knockouts, is a big puncher, and he could score a knockout in this fight and expose Anderson as a hype job, which is how many fans on social media, especially over in the UK, view him. Anderson's popularity, never good to begin with, has dropped off the side of a cliff since last year for his fights on ESPN. If Anderson falls apart in this fight, a lot of boxing fans are going to see it, and Top Rank is going to have a big decision to make of whether they keep him or cut him adrift and let him be some other promoter's problem. Right now, Anderson doesn't look like he's improving, and it seems pointless for Top Rank to keep matching him against the way they've been. Hopefully, he'll get better. This is all according to Chris Williams over BoxingNews24.com. Right now, some believe, the pundits that is, are keeping him around long enough until the current top heavyweights, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, retire because they're getting old. As I said, the unclogging is going to happen soon. It's a risky fight for 24-year-old Anderson. Like I said, I would have rather seen him go up against someone really big like Joe Joyce. And it seems like his promoters at Top Rank have decided to stop babying him and want to see what they've got. If Anderson loses or looks poor, Top Rank might need to throw him the fishes and put their energy into Richard Torres Jr. or some other fighters they're developing. Anderson fights in a cautious manner, and that seems similar to lightweight Shakur Stevenson, and that style will not work against any of the top-rung heavyweights in the division. It's unclear if Anderson is worried about taking punishment in his fights and hiding a glass jaw. He was hurt by Charles Martin in their fight last year, and since then, Top Rank has matched him against 2 weaker fighters, Andre Rudenko and Riyad Merhi. With the way Top Rank has matched the 6'4" Anderson, they would never find out because his opposition has been poor. He's had to show signs of regression. Besides that, Anderson's outside the ring activity was worrisome as well, making some believe that he was out of control and heading for trouble. So anyway, Anderson, sporting a 17-0 record, 15 knockouts, would have potentially been fighting former WBC heavyweight champ Deontay Wilder if he had been victorious in his last fight on the weekend. But defeat wiped out that option for Wilder. Anyway, onwards to Riyadh season and that August 3rd fight. Let's have a quick look and see who else is going to be showing up for that fight. As I said, it's headlined Terence Crawford, Israil Madrimov, BMO Stadium, Los Angeles. One disappointment is that junior middleweight Virgil Ortiz Jr. is not listed on the card. His previously scheduled opponent, Tim Sayu, had to pull out due to a cut that still hasn't healed. It was hoped the replacement would have been found for Virgil Jr., but now that's not the case. Apparently, Virgil Jr. is back on the card because he's one of the younger fighters and still in his prime. Oh, hopefully Virgil Jr. is put back on the card because he is one of the younger fighters still in his prime. So what we are going to see that is confirmed as of right this moment, Terence Crawford fighting Israil Madrimov, Isaac Pitbull Cruz versus Jose Valenzuela, Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Gerald, the real Big Baby Miller. Jared, Big Baby. No, hang on. Gerald is the Big Baby Miller. Jared is the real big baby. Anderson. Okay. I think I got that right. Fucking idiots. Jared Anderson versus Martin McCauley. David Morrell up against Radivo Kalavjic. Good luck pronouncing that. Andy Cruise versus Anthony Moran. So let's have a quick look here at Pitbull. This is first defense for WBA light welterweight champ, and has recently won 140-pound belt against Rayo Valenzuela. And there has been some mumblings about Subriel Matias and who's he going to be fighting next after Liam Paro. Will he be able to fight someone like Pitbull Cruz or one of the other contenders at 140? That remains to be seen. I would hope so, but it's not confirmed what's going to happen, and nothing's ever confirmed, obviously. Anyway, let's go on back to Pitbull Cruz. Says the writer, it's a weird fight, given that Rayo, that's Rayo Valenzuela, has lost 2 of his last 3 contests. When a fighter has a 1-2 record, they don't rate fighting for a world title. Rayo fights at lightweight. He has been given a world title shot at 140. There's more about selling a fight to the public than true sporting match in the traditional sense. In any other sport, you wouldn't see a team losing their way to the championship game. But in boxing, this is what you get. Wow. Harsh words. Let's have a quick read. Chris Williams. Right on, Chris. Say it how it is. BoxingNews24.com. As I said, Subriel Matias, the avoided champion at the 140 division. Here's who he should be fighting, but he's not fighting. Let's have a quick look here. He should be fighting either Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, Isaac Cruz, or Ryan Garcia. But Eddie Hearn might not be able to come up with the cash to lure the likes of those kinds of fighters. And it might take the Saudis to take on some of those options within the 140 division. It's a good division. It really is. But I think Matias is fighting Puerto Rico, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Matias is defending his IBF title against Liam Paro, 24-0, by the way, 15 knockouts, on June 15th at the Coliseo Juan Albán Cruz Abuelo in Manatí, Puerto Rico. That's too bad. He is a good fighter. He's 20-1, 20 knockouts. That's Matias, but he's been promoted by Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn doesn't seem to want to put him in the ring against any of these big boys. Well, no bigger than him, but big in terms of name. Let's move on. Jack Catterall. Of course, he's eyeing a return, and who's it going to be? Regis Progress or Barbosa Jr.? Jack Catterall's next fight is being planned for late August in Manchester against former WBA, WBC light welterweight champ Regis Progress or Arnold Barbosa Jr. Is he avoiding Matias once again? I don't know. Matchroom promoter Eddie Hearn is interested in using one of those 2 contenders for Catterall. That would be Progress or Barbosa to fight in a title eliminator. Hearn isn't saying for which title, but it's likely WBO, and that's the one that Catterall has been asking for. What's unclear is why Hearn doesn't set Catterall up for a straight title shot against his fighter, IBF 140-pound champ Subriel Matias. It would be a stylistic mismatch. It would be easy for Hearn to make that fight, but his reluctance to do so suggests that he feels Matias would be all wrong for Catterall. Matias would expose Catterall's lack of power and inability to stand his ground and fight. This is written by Daniel McGlinchey, who I reported on the other day. He's got a good style to his writing. I like him, and I haven't seen his name before the other day, so I'm glad to report yet another item he's put online here. He says, I think it would be a disaster to throw the light-hitting Shakur-esque Catterall in with Matias and watch the feeding frenzy that would take place. Catterall is a 6-round fighter who fights like Shakur Stevenson with his ugly hit, run, and hold style and gasses out. The last 6 rounds are holding and running by Catterall. Well, there you have it, British boxing fans. Let's have a quick look at the Anthony Joshua. We're still waiting for a verdict from the IBF before he chooses an opponent, or should I say Eddie Hearn chooses his opponent. The status of the IBF heavyweight title yet determined. AJ's next opponent seems Joshua is expected to fight at Wembley in September. We're talking 80,000 people. So he's going to need someone of weight to fill that stadium. Let's have a quick look here after his fellow Briton Daniel Dubois so impressively stopped Filip Hrgovic. he became the favorite to be stood in the opposite corner. And on the other hand, it could be Zhilai Zhang. But anyway, Dubois' promoter, Frank Warren, has already said that this is what they're working on. Joshua was ringside in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia to watch Dubois beat Hrgovic, aware that the winner was to be his likeliest opponent on September 21st. But had Deontay Wilder beaten Zhilai Zhang, he would have represented another potential opponent. And Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, has revealed that Zhang is also in contention still. Back in 2018, Joshua defeated Joseph Parker, and after Parker's victories over Wilder and Zhang, he similarly is another Hearn says is under consideration. Zhang and Parker are also less dangerous than the 26-year-old Dubois, which is why I thought to unclog that division, let's just see AJ and Dubois go toe-to-toe, of which I thought Dubois would win that particular fight. Anyway, what do I know? What does anyone know? Eddie Hearn seems to know it all, though. Eddie Hearn says he hasn't decided who Anthony Joshua's opponent will be in his fight September 21st at Wembley Stadium. Why does he say all that? The one the fans that would like to see, they'd like to see the former two-time heavyweight champ Joshua face Daniel Dubois. Thank you. But he's developed into arguably the best fighter in the division since last year. Putting Joshua in with Dubois is a bad idea, given what's at stake for AJ. Again, says Daniel McGlinchey. Okay. While he feels a fight between Joshua and Dubois is a potential option, he's unsure if they'll pursue it. Hearn needs to find a good enough opponent to help Joshua sell out the 80,000-seat Wembley Stadium. But him being in with the young phenom Dubois would be a foolhardy move. The other two options for Joshua are safer choices. Zhilai Zhang, slow fighter that Joshua can potentially beat by using the Klitschko-esque style he's employed for his rematch with Andy Ruiz Jr. in 2019. As long as Joshua doesn't stand in front of Zhang, he wins quite easily. Zhang is helpless against movers that jab a lot. Joseph Parker, a fighter Joshua has already beaten by boxing him from the outside. With Parker having become a purely defensive fighter since his knockout loss in 2022, he would be a safe choice for AJ and an easy mark. Hearn, however, may be concerned about throwing the soon-to-be 35-year-old Joshua, 28-3, in with the rugged young 26-year-old Dubois and seeing AJ meet the same fate as his matchroom fighter Filip Hrgovic. I don't blame Hearn if he chooses to have Joshua avoid Dubois. Daniel is too dangerous right now, and he's clearly on a roll with his victories over Jarrell, Big Baby Miller, and Hrgovic. The punches that Dubois walked through in those two fights would have knocked Joshua clean out and derailed his career. Joshua ain't going to want to get in that firefight with a young phenom like Dubois. Boxing is for younger fighters, and Joshua has got to get a lot of mileage on the odometer. Dubois made the 31 Hrgovic look like an old man last Saturday night, busted him up in an 8-round TKO win. Joshua is even older than Hrgovic. It's a bad idea for him to face Dubois right now, given the huge payday available for AJ against the winner of the December 21st fight between Fury and Alexander Usyk. So there you go. Wow. Does that end our episode today? No. Let's see what's happening this weekend other than that fight I stated in Montreal. Oh, that fight in Montreal also features a couple of women. Mary Spencer going up against April Hunter. I forgot to mention that. They're in the welterweight division, and that should be a really good bash up as well. Over in Verona, New York, you're going to see Oscar Collazo versus Geraldo Zapata for Collazo's WBO strawweight title. Eric Tudor versus Quinton Randall, 10 rounds. Miquan Williams versus Will Mank Brito, 8 rounds. David Stevens versus Sergio Lopez. Yair Lozano versus Michael Portolatin. And in the welterweight division, rounding out that card, Bryce Mills against Jose Marafuno. Wow. Some names I have never heard of. I'm sure you haven't heard of, unless you're way, way more informed than I am. All right, let's see. I've mentioned Claressa Shields. She's up to challenge WBC heavyweight champ Vanessa Lepage-Jones. I already mentioned that. But we'll remind you it's taking place in Detroit, July 27th. I believe, didn't she just fight in the MMA? Someone help me out here. I thought Claressa Shields was fighting Chantel Cameron. I can't remember. Oh, yes. Here's an really interesting story, short story. The WBC congratulates the Boxing Commission of Cancun. Why? On May 17th in Chetumal, Quintana Roo, Mexico, former world champion Yesenia Gomez faced Cecilia Niño in a fight that resulted in a controversial draw, since the action was clearly dominated by Cecilia. In an act of honorability and justice, the Boxing, Wrestling, and Professional Martial Arts Commission of Cancun, Quintana Roo, revoked the draw issued, granting Cecilia Niño the victory. After a thorough review of the fight, the commission found that human errors had been made in the evaluation of the fight, which led to the mistake in the final score. The WBC congratulates Cancun Boxing, Wrestling, and Professional Martial Arts Commission for the commitment shown true transparency in boxing, assuring fans and athletes that the necessary measures will be taken for justice in our sport. What a load of crap. All right, let's have a look here. Is Usyk going to return to cruiserweight and fight the winner of Bill Smith versus Rickpour? We'll have to wait and see. Let's have a quick look at Saudi boxing. According to Mike Coppinger over on ESPN, Alexander Usyk wore a stone-cold scowl as he methodically walked into the ring, sold out Kingdom Arena, square-shaped venue in the center of Boulevard City, bustling hub of shops, restaurants, interactive game experience, just in case you didn't know. A few minutes later, Tyson Fury danced the entrance, blah, blah, blah. What's this all about? Enter Turki, chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority. Government Department of Regulation develops the country's entertainment industry. Stepped in with a vision, satisfied the pair of boxers to procure high guaranteed paydays to bring the fighting from social media to the ring. All right. All right. According to sources, Usyk Fury generated upward of $50 million in pay-per-view revenue and $1.5 million plus pay-per-view buys. The vast majority from the UK, where Fury is a megastar. The event also made up $40 million in sponsorship and another $3 million plus in ticket sales. In all, production, fight purse, entertainment, travel, etc., the event cost in the neighborhood of $120 million. Wow, that's a lot. I don't know if you've added up those costs or not. I wonder if they equate. Anyway, so let's talk about this, though. Just to end today's episode, Saudi Arabia doesn't stop at either Cristiano Ronaldo or boxing. Their next victim is pool. The World 9-Ball Pool Championship has gone to Saudi Arabia this year, and it appears the Middle Eastern kingdom is looking to stamp their mark on the sport. I'm sorry. What's next? Handball? The World Pool Championship is currently underway in the mega-rich Middle Eastern country. The competition that's being hosted in Jeddah has been given the famous Saudi razzmatazz, both in the elaborate opening ceremony and the facilities they put on for the players. Do you know who the world champion is right now? Number one ranked player? Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Now you know. You heard it here first on Talkin Fight. Thanks very much for joining me. I appreciate it very much. I'll see you again on talkinfight.com. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And I don't know. It's getting weirder and weirder by the day.